All right, folks, welcome back to another
Hello.
episode of the Off Air Voiceover Podcast. My name, of course, is Michael.
And I'm Jen. Excited to be back.
Yeah, and finally getting to record another one. And today we've got a very, very special guest with us from the world of audio dramas, and I'm really looking forward to getting into this one.
Yeah.
Mr. Chris Gregory, the director of Alternative Stories. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, very good, thank you, Michael. How are you?
I'm all right. This is the first time we've had to, obviously, for those to explain, I worked on an audio drama with Chris just before the turn of the year and had the most amazing time. So I just thought he would be an excellent person to come on the podcast and talk all things audio.
That was such a fun day, wasn't it, Michael?
It was excellent. It was brilliant.
You did it in person, didn't you, as well?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I did,
yeah, that's the dream.
It was my first proper production that I've been on, and oh yeah, what a day! We can touch on that in a bit, but no, I'm great. And this is the first time we've really properly spoken since then, so I'm looking forward to catching up. How are you doing, Jen?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Very good, and as I say, I'm excited to be back. Chris, for those who don't know you, do you want to just give a brief introduction about yourself, please?
Yes, indeed. So as Michael was saying, I'm Chris Gregory. I run a production company called Alternative Stories. We make a few drama series. At the moment, it's mostly around sci-fi. Sci-fi's huge in independent audio drama, fantasy, and but we make a lot of one-off dramas as well. So the idea is that we can offer a kind of end-to-end production service from script editing, because if someone's just made scripts for visual mediums, it's very different for audio drama. There's a few tips and tricks you've got to do to adapt a script. So all of that, we can book the studios, we can do all the casting, we direct, and then we do all the post-production as well. We, in that sense, being me, really, mostly. So I'm a sound designer as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's me.
So it's
amazing.
Quite full. Yeah, it's quite full. It's literally like you are spinning every plate and wearing every hat.
Yeah, well, I have Alternative Stories also has a creative director whose name is Emily Inkpen. I don't think she was on the production that we worked on together, Michael, but she's on most of our shows. And she's the writer of probably our most successful show, which is The Dex Legacy.
Yeah, and what a cracking name as well, I have to say it. Like, her name's amazing.
Well, it's from Emily's written... She's a novelist as well. She's written lots of books in this kind of vast sci-fi universe, and The Dex Legacy is just part of that, really. But that one is sort of top charts, and we're approaching 500,000 downloads worldwide for that.
Oh, wow.
And so yeah, it's quite a big deal for us, really.
Yeah, of course.
Gosh, yeah. So, in terms of, obviously we said earlier on before we started, so a lot of this episode is going to be centred around sort of exploring the world of audio drama for voice actors who are looking to try and get into audio drama, like sort of things from your perspective that can help them in their career, and just all the benefits of being involved in the audio drama thing. Because I think nowadays, obviously there's those two famous letters, AI. There's a lot of fear-mongering around the industry about people trying to find work, and we've always said that there is a clear narrative about doubling down on storytelling. Like, if you want to try and combat the way things are changing, then you have to really improve your storytelling abilities. And obviously audio drama, I mean, that is one of the biggest things where your storytelling abilities can flourish. So just before we go too much into that, just regards to yourself and audio dramas then, so how did you get into audio dramas? Like, what is it about the craft that you love? Like, just tell us a bit about your story, how you got here and your process with it.
Well, I've always loved audio drama. When I was a kid growing up, The Archers was always on in the house, and whilst I'm not a massive fan of that, I guess hearing that on the radio made me realise that there was this world of drama that you couldn't see, but that you could listen to. Then I'm old enough that I was really into this thing called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah. And so many people I know in the world of audio drama and also in the world of sci-fi, that was like, the thing that got them into it.
Wow.
And, for when it was made, I think it's like 80s it was made, maybe even late 70s. The sound design was incredible. The acting was incredible. It was really, really funny. And it then went on to be several books and films and things like that.
Yeah.
But I just loved that. I was one of those nerdy kids who could sort of, if you gave me the line, I could give you the next one,
Oh, amazing.
So I used to record it on cassettes and play it back, and the cassettes wore out eventually.
Wow.
So I loved that. Then later I got into music production. So I knew my way around the digital audio workstation software. And it was just before lockdown, I started having this idea that I would make some radio dramas, because suddenly we've got this platform. It wasn't that you had to get commissioned by Radio 4 anymore, but you've got podcasts as a way that you could put these things out. And it was suddenly something that you could do in your back bedroom at home.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that. Then lockdown came along. There were a load of actors who couldn't work in any other way, but if they had a microphone and a setup at home, I could give them some lines, and maybe we could hook up on a Zoom call, and suddenly they could send those lines in, and I could stitch them all together, and it kind of sounded like we were all in the same room acting together. And also with lockdown, the audiences went up massively.
Of course, yeah.
So people had all this free time, or they were working from home and they could have something on in the background while they were working.
Yeah, and like your one walk you're allowed in the day, like definitely
get
getting a
your
podcast
headphones on
on
and
or
listen
an
to
audio
something,
drama.
yeah.
What a weird time that was.
Oh God, yeah, let's not think
Wasn't
about that.
it?
Crazy.
And I think we've retained a lot of those audiences. And I think people have realised that, you can be creative, you can make radio drama, and it doesn't need to break the bank. It doesn't need to be really expensive. That's kind of how I got into it. And then the operation's become a lot bigger since then. So we're, as Michael was saying, we're now recording in studio, which is, I'm sure we'll talk about that later. It's a whole different experience from recording from home and sending your lines in. But hopefully the results are similar to the listener. But yeah,
do you
I just
sorry
love it.
to Chris interrupt. Do you listen back to when you first started, and can you hear the development of your skills and obviously the business as it's developed?
Yeah, I mean, I do listen back, not very far into these dramas, because I cringe too much.
Mikey, do you have that with earlier voiceover work?
Oh my God, some of the earlier work, I'm like, someone paid me for that.
But, someone thought it was good at the time, someone was listening. But
of course,
I think
and they've stuck around, haven't they?
Standards go up, don't they, as
It's
you
a
go
weird
on.
Evolution of whenever you start something, evolution is a big part of anything, because you are always going to get better from where you are on day 1 to where you'll be on day 100. They're going to be very different. But yeah, I think you made a really interesting point there about the podcasting, because I am of the opinion these days that, let's say somebody's not able to try and get as much work as they would like. I kind of feel like, look at the things you've got around you. If you have a microphone, if you have a recording space, social media is free. To upload on a podcast platform costs mostly just your time. The actual cost to entry is not that much. So it's almost like there are so many ways nowadays you could be a little bit more creative and utilise your skill for your own betterment. And you can put something together and say, and that can then potentially grow into a wider thing where maybe somebody hears something and go, oh, we'd like them as part of our production. Yeah. So it's almost like being a little bit more proactive rather than sitting and waiting for the work, making auditions. As the landscape is beginning to change, I am very much of the opinion now where I think with all the resources available, being more proactive is really a good way to go for various different reasons. Like you said, like your prime example yourself, you've grown it into something great. But for some people who maybe can't go down that path, they might be able to get on other people's, like your radar, for example. You might come across them and go, this person's fantastic. They can be part of something we need, which had that creative process not started, you might not have come across them. So, yeah, I totally agree. I think the way things are these days, it's just maybe write that, record that true crime podcast or whatever it may be. Create your own characters, make them up. You're the boss. You're the main creator.
And if you're on your own, I mean, by all means, if you've got mates who are also actors, get them involved as well. But if you are on your own, the monologue is a great tool, I think, for telling stories. You know, back to, you know, Alan Bennett did this amazing thing called Talking Heads, where every week was a different story told, you know, by a person face to face to camera, but it would have worked equally well in audio, in character. And it's, you know, I think monologues are fantastic. A lot of really successful audio dramas are pretty much based on monologues. You know, it's just one voice telling a story, but they're in character. And I think that can work beautifully, and it's a great way to get started, actually.
Yeah,
there's actually one that I listened to on Audible just before Christmas, and it was this I forgot what it was called, but the premise was there was this woman, she was trapped on a spaceship floating through space, and it was just her and her AI companion, and but most of it was just her talking to herself, like her own thoughts but vocalized. And it was excellent. It was like it was almost a one-man show. I know the AI voice came in every now and then for bits, but largely a one-person show. And it was brilliant. You don't need a full ensemble cast in certain stories. Like you say, you could just get the microphone, write your character.
It's really stripped back, though, isn't it? So that is very much reliant on the writing and the acting and the sound production of that. Like, because that could be very difficult to make it good. I think, you know, kudos to them, because it could very easily be bad, couldn't it? That.
Yeah, I think it's the variety, isn't it, that is challenging in a situation like that. But I mean, the other thing about independent audio drama is that episodes can be whatever length you want them to be.
Yeah.
You know, if you're making a drama for the BBC, it's got to be like 58 minutes or 28 minutes, because it's got to fit between the 2 o'clock news and the 3 o'clock news or whatever. But if you're making it for a podcast for yourself, your monologue could be 5 minutes and that's your episode. You know, and next week you might feel a bit more inspired and it's a 10-minute episode. Just doesn't need to fit those same parameters. So I would say experiment and just have a play, really.
I think so, yeah, because like I say, for those that, I mean, I'm saying this out loud because I'm going to try and take my own advice. But for someone who wants to consistently try and work more in audio drama, it's like, well, in those in-between times, just create your own audio drama-esque piece, like a monologue, like you say, and upload it and share it so people can get a window into what you're capable of, and the right job will come along at some point. It's just about putting it out there. But I suppose with that in mind then, for those people that do want to try and get in audio drama, from your perspective, like what do you think of apart from acting abilities, some of the core foundations they need to try and get noticed, like, and to try and get into it? What would your recommendations be?
I mean, I think the first one would be to have an audio drama reel. Now, I think we talked about the fact that, you know, gaming and audio drama, I think, are very similar beasts, actually. So a gaming reel and an audio drama reel might not be miles apart, really, but to have a reel where you are showing, it's just your versatility, really. I think the breadth of what you're able to do. So, you know, get a good reel together and show some variety on it. Try and find out who is making the sort of stuff that you would like to be in. Now, obviously, we would all think about the BBC. The BBC, most of their commissioning is from independent makers of audio drama, like Alternative Stories, for example. So find out who's making audio drama, who are the companies that are producing, you know, the shows for the BBC, or the independent shows, or the shows for companies like Audible. Find out who they are and sort of follow them on social media. If you can find out who's running the company, LinkedIn's a good tool for that. Drop them a note just to say hi. Now, I will warn you, we do get a lot of people saying, "Hi, I'm an actor, here's my reel, have a listen." So if you're going to do that, make sure that your reel, because we listen to them, but make sure it grabs you in the first, you know. 10
Can I ask you
seconds
then,
or
just
so.
to jump in, how do you see then an audio drama reel being different from a gaming reel? Like, what's the difference in your mind?
I think gaming reels are quite often about action and about, you know, I don't know how to say it really, but more, I think there's a more immediacy to to a gaming reel. In an audio drama reel, we want to hear depths of emotion. We want to hear you being distraught and happy and all those different things. We want to hear you doing different accents. It's not a lot different from a gaming reel, but you know, if you might want to do, for example, a bit of Shakespeare on an audio drama reel. I don't think you do that on a
not necessarily
reel, unless someone's making.
That'd be quite cool, though. Actually, that's a good idea for a unique one, everyone.
Shakespearean orc.
Hamlet, the video game.
Yeah. Well, Hamlet's probably next, isn't it? That's.
Oh, yes. Spoiler: they all die at the end. But, sorry if you've not. But yeah. So I think more. Think more drama, think more scripted stuff. I think, but
quite heavy on the emotion as opposed to like, with a gaming reel. I think you will have like your soldier, maybe your, I don't know, like you might do an orc or something crazy. But I think for audio drama, because there's so much emotion involved in doing audio drama on various levels that I think
I do think gaming demos have moved more towards that. I think there's definitely that is what you're required to do for a good gaming audio now, is that really showing that depth of emotion and versatility.
But I think what I've literally just recorded is based on that. Like there's only one piece where I played like this unhinged composer because it just needed a bit of a wild card, but the rest of it is just rooted in.
I like your unhinged composer. That's a good one. But I think there's something that sits back with audio drama in a way. Like I think because you're listening to, I don't know, I can imagine how, I don't know, that's the best way I can describe it. It's like sitting back, but it's like the vocals of that, because you're kind of going with it and living that in a different way, maybe to experience it in a game where it's more active.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But I think with reels though, I read a while ago that audio drama reels. There's two companies that I came across, I can't remember who they were, but they were saying that the reels need to be up to like 6 or 7 minutes because each piece needs to draw itself out so you can get immersed into the character. But I thought, I mean, if that's the fact, that's fine, but to me that seems like I don't know anyone that'd sit and listen to a reel for 7 minutes.
I would say 2 minutes would be your longest.
That seems more realistic.
Think of it like an elevator pitch. I always do. You know? And, you know, I always ask about the elevator pitch. Well, how many floors are we doing? So I you know, because if you're doing one floor, you've got like 10 seconds, haven't you?
Yeah.
But so my advice is always have a 2-minute one, and that can go into some slightly longer pieces because we want to hear you do monologue, we want to hear you do dialogue.
Yeah.
But also have a 1-minute one and a 30-second one. And
okay.
Really
I'm literally taking notes. Has everyone else got a pen out?
You know, I don't know whether these are hard and fast industry rules, but these are things that I've always found useful. You know, if I've got 100 applicants for people who want to be cast in a role, I probably am not going to listen to a 2-minute reel for all of them.
Yeah.
But I might listen to the 30-second reel and then say, these 10, I'm going to listen to the full 2 minutes.
Okay.
When you say the 30-second reel, are you talking about still just a few different voices, like 5-6 seconds of each, or one good 30 seconds?
No, I'm talking maybe 2 or 3 different things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you cast off reels then, or are you putting out casting calls?
I might, from a reel, what I might do, because normally they're sent to me unsolicited. Yeah. What I might do is say, oh, that person sounded really good. Next time I'm casting, I will ask them to audition. But
okay, cool.
I think we did this, Michael. I normally what I will do, I will cast specifically for a character. So I'll create an audition page for that character. I'll give, and the top of the page will be 3 or 4 lines of notes about the character, so you've got something to base your performance on. and then there will be some dialogue and some monologue if it's a character that gets monologue. I'm normally looking for the widest range of emotions and dialogue for that character, and all the people that are auditioning will get the same audition sheet.
Yeah.
So normally I'm casting with a couple of other people. We'll all be listening to 6 or 7 people doing the same lines. And that's the best way, I think, for me as a casting director to find who's going to be best for the role.
Excellent. And how do you feel about unsolicited demos?
I love to hear them. I really do.
Okay.
And I have, there have been occasions, quite a lot of occasions actually, where I've thought he or she's really good. And I've then invited them to audition and they've got the part and I've worked with them. So, it definitely works. And an example of that, a recent thing that I recorded that I'm in post-production for at the moment, one of the actors contacted me exactly that way by sending a demo, and it just so happened that it was right on the day when I was thinking about this character, and I thought she'd be perfect.
That's the dream.
And it turned out she was.
There you go, folks. If you needed the motivation to send that email, it does happen. And listen, I have to say, I'm pretty terrible when it comes to sending the emails. I think what it is because in this modern day now, like with social media, you get like read receipts, so you can see when somebody's seen something. Whereas if you send an email out, particularly if it's got an attachment, sometimes the spam filters will intervene because you've attached an MP3 to someone you've never messaged before. So from the receiver's end, it's protection. So occasionally, because you don't often get a response back by saying, "Oh, thanks very much, I've got it, I'll stick it in a file," or whatever. I'd say in my experience, over time, I don't know, 1 in every 20 might get a reply acknowledging they've received it, and the rest you don't. So I started to get a bit put off by sending out emails just because I had no idea if they'd received it or not. But I guess, what about yourself? Like, do you tend to respond to a few, or do you just collect them and then file it away for when you might need it in the future?
I would like to say I respond to all of them, even if it's just thanks ever so much for sending this through. And normally, if I possibly can, I can say we're going to be casting for this in 3 months' time. I'll bear you in mind for it. Or I'll be honest. I might say I'm not casting for anything at the moment, and I don't anticipate to be for the next 4 or 5 months, because there's no point stringing someone along and thinking they've got a chance of being cast tomorrow if there's no chance of that. So yes, I try to respond to everything.
It is. Obviously, if someone gets inundated with emails, you simply can't just be there responding to everyone. But it is encouraging because, again, it's that you don't realise what's going on behind the scenes, do you? Sometimes there are things. I've had inquiries through where it's like, "Oh, just let you know, we shortlisted you for this project about a month ago, and turns out you've got it." And it's like, you just don't know what's going on behind, and send in the email, send out the attachment, because you just don't know what people do with it. But I think because we don't necessarily get that direct feedback or sometimes acknowledgement it's even been received, for me anyway, it can sometimes be a little bit off-putting, and I try and find other ways of doing it. You know what I mean? But no, that's
the other ways are, follow me on social media, follow me on LinkedIn, and I will generally follow people back because I want to see what you're doing. If you follow me, sometimes I will put out, I'm casting for this sort of character. If anyone's interested, send me a reel, so they can see what I'm up to, and I can see what they're up to, and hopefully, that is mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
But it's a busy world. I would never 100% guarantee that I will always see what people are up to.
Of course.
I will always reply to emails, but I do try. And particularly, I think if people have sent in a specific request to a casting, they've done an audition reel, I'll always reply back and say, "Sorry, you've not got it," or in your case, Michael, well, welcome to the cast. That's always a nice one to send and to receive, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you find we had somebody else on the podcast a while ago, and she is more involved in the on-screen acting world, and she was saying that a lot of on-screen actors are trying to move in towards voice acting, particularly audio dramas, but they find the transition difficult. Maybe there was a dare I say, an arrogance that because they can act, that they can certainly act behind a microphone. But actually, the two techniques are very different. Have you ever come across this?
Yeah, I mean, I have absolutely come across some quite big name actors actually who haven't done that well as voice actors, and it is about it is a different set of skills entirely. And someone I work with a lot once said to me that they were really excited. I think it was at drama school. You do radio modules at drama school, and they'd gone in and recorded something, and they were really excited about it. And they listened back, and it was just flat as a pancake. And they just hadn't done all those things, and it's difficult to express what those things are. But it is about making a performance come alive purely through voice and intonation. Yeah. So you've got to, and this is something I think you can practice as well. You know, in the house on your own, preferably, because you don't want your partner or neighbours hearing all of this. But record yourself and see what it sounds like. Just use your phone, just record it, and do a pick a play or whatever, pick a character, and just practice a few lines, and then challenge yourself. What was it that wasn't coming alive in my performance? What do I need to do? And quite often it's the physicality of a performance, and this is where a lot of actors, they'll just get in front of the microphone and just freeze or just stand there completely still, and we never do that, and our voices react to the movements. And you know, so if I've got two characters who are having a conversation while walking down the street, I will have them walk on the spot in front of the microphone, so it sounds like you're walking. You didn't have to do this, Michael, but quite often in our sci-fi dramas there'll be a fight scene or something. I'll make them run around a little bit so they're out of breath when they get on the microphone, and you know, all of that makes it sound more realistic. You know, like things we can do with our voices. Our voices are really versatile, and we can put across so much with them. But it's just knowing how to do that, really, and the director will help you with that, of course. Yeah.
But it's like I was going to say, it's like the invisible props, and like you say, it's the running around to tire yourself out, or like when I was doing my reel, one of the scenes was, was it my reel? One of the scenes was I was supposed to be grabbing someone's throat, so I literally had my hand in front, pretending to be grabbing someone's throat, just to create that scenario and emotion as if it were real. You can't just stand here and deliver the lines. The authenticity of it just completely breaks down. You know what I mean? So, but no, the reason why I mention it is, because obviously when I went to acting school a couple of years ago, on-screen acting, I thought it would be easier, because I know voice acting is difficult and it's always a work in progress. But when I went to acting school and I thought on-screen, I thought this would be easier because, you know, you got your physicality, your eyes, but that was the two skills. They are very different. You know what I mean? And that's what I realised. And I think obviously people going from on-screen to voice are also realising that, being able to go behind a microphone and bring it to life and make it sound realistic is no easy feat whatsoever. Yeah.
I mean, another thing I would say as well is, if you are in the lucky situation where you're in a studio working with another actor, read their lines. Make sure, because I get this a lot actually, where actors will get a script and they'll just read their character's lines, and I mean, I suppose that is it's a logical shortcut, isn't it? If that's all you're going to have to deliver. But
that's a stereotypical thing. Like, you get a script, you're like, I'm just going to skim to my part. Where am I, and how much do I get to say?
But you know,
then go back and read all of it.
Yeah, but you know, when you're down the pub, and if you're down the pub and your mate says something that you strongly agree with, while they're talking, you're going, or yeah. And so one of the things that really brings the performance to life is that kind of reacting while another character's speaking. Yeah. And it has that twin benefit of, A, it sounds more realistic, but B, it forces you as an actor to listen to what the other character is saying.
Yeah.
And that means that your next response to what they've said is going to have more understanding and more depth to it.
What they're reacting, not acting.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, just little things like that. And you'll hear really good voice actors. They're doing that all the time. And I think that's a really good tip if you do get to work in studio.
We're speaking of that, actually, working in the studio. So, do you, like, in terms of getting cast, is there... Because obviously a lot of people have booths from home and stuff. Do you find that location does actually matter? Like, I know, like, for example, with voiceover work, there's a lot of studios where they won't work with you unless you live in London. Despite the fact that you need to have a home studio, like if you're not in London, it's just not going to work. So with audio drama, like for yourself, how important is location to you? Can you work with people remotely, or does location matter a lot?
I've worked with people who've come in from France for the day, Michael.
Right.
Can't think of any examples particularly, but no, not at all. I mean, my studio, the studio I work in, is in East London, and I don't live in East London. I do it there because most of the actors I work with are in London, and it's just simple economics, really. I've compared that to bringing actors up to the Midlands where I am, and what I save in the studio costs, I lose in having to pay transport expenses and even overnight sometimes for actors. So, London's where I work, but I don't really worry where actors are coming from if they're happy to, make the journey, really. And I think then it becomes a matter of economics for them as to whether it's worthwhile for the day fee that we're offering to make that journey.
I like the fact, though, sorry to interrupt you, Chris, that because, being more up north, it's kind of like, well, sometimes it doesn't work out economically, depending on the role and things. But I want that to be up to me. I don't want to miss out on a role because I'm not London based. So it's kind of like, well, I understand you can't pay that, but then it's up to me, isn't it, if I take that on or not? So, and I know some people are like, well, no, we have to be London, and you have to be between the M25, or, and you're like, well, why? If I'm happy to incur that cost.
I think sometimes it is a bit of it's like a little bit of an echo chamber, isn't it? We're London, that's what we do. Everyone in the creative world is in London, and it's just not true.
No, not at all.
There is lots and lots of great theatre all around the country, and therefore there are actors all around the country.
Yeah.
I've worked in the north of England, so one of the other things I do is I have like a mobile studio set up. Okay. So I recorded a drama in Rochdale a couple of years ago. If we can find a space that isn't like super echoey, someone tried to get me to record a drama in a church once, and I was like, that's not going to sound great, I'm afraid.
Do you ever record actors remotely, though? Like if they do have professional home studios, do you do it remotely, or you just prefer to be in studio?
Yes, I do, Jen. The Dex Legacy, we've got a few members of the cast who live in the States.
Right, okay.
Whilst it would be lovely to afford to fly people
that's a hefty commute, isn't
Texas or Seattle, it's not happened yet. So what we've done is hooked up Zoom sessions and recorded people, and they've sent their lines in, and we've done the traditional hand clap at the beginning so you can match up the audio, and it works reasonably well. So they've had some of the experience of being face to face with their scene partners, but not unfortunately the experience of having a beer with us afterwards.
Like for me, trying to work in studio, if you can do it, like when you're saying about the logistics and stuff. I mean, I would even argue, I remember my very first, the whole reason why I got into voiceover, I've said this many times, but the whole reason why I got into voiceover was because of audio drama. And one of the very, very first jobs that I did was a student project, and it was an experience. But
I'm laughing to remember the story.
Yeah, it cost me more to get there than I was getting paid. But for me, it was like, the experience of the whole thing is almost invaluable. So I kind of went. So yeah, so I suppose really it's that trade-off, isn't it? Like I think I can understand people saying, "Oh, logistically, if I've got to travel, it's not really worth it." But I guess also ask yourself a question: what do you lose by not going and being part of it? So yes, you might not make much money, or you might even take a bit of a loss on the day if that be the case. But is there a bigger picture to think about? Because I think trying to be part of a daycast, if you can, is just so worth it for various different reasons.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
It's
really
so much fun, isn't it? And not least because you get, because we always like take photos of the cast in the studio and things like that, and quite often you'll see the actors kind of selfieing themselves in the recording booths, because everyone does. Everyone does that, don't they? And so you get this great social media content,
free content.
Yeah, it is, and so that's one thing. But I think it's just such a fun day. I mean, it's a busy day and it's a full-on day. But all the Alternative Stories has this tradition of going for a drink afterwards, and it moves people. I mean, the reason we're probably talking today, Michael, is because we had a beer together afterwards.
Yeah.
And we got to know each other better than we could have done because we were working really hard in the studio. And it's just really nice to hang out with other voice actors at the end of the day, I think.
It is. And make those connections with creatives is just, there's some magic in it. And I think if you're a good voice actor, like part of the job is to be able to make it sound that the dialogue you're speaking, it is part of a communication with another voice actor. But you so rarely have that. But then if you're in the studio with other voice actors, there's this magic that happens because you've got the whole team there. It's amazing.
That beautifully leads me into my next question. My two favourite letters, AI. So, from your perspective, because obviously this is all performative. Now, for those that listen to the podcast, this is rinse and repeat. I've said it loads of times, but for your benefit, Chris, my perspective on the AI space is that, yes, obviously we know it's getting better in general. However, I firmly believe that whilst it will continue to get better, it will never pass a barrier because of it. How to explain it? It's synthetic in nature, which means no matter how good it gets, it will always be synthetic. It'll never cross that barrier. Whereas we as human beings, we are not synthetic. So I don't believe that the true art of storytelling can be replaced by AI just because of that definition of what it is. But obviously people do get concerned, like, it's getting better, etc., etc. So obviously being involved in audio drama is very performative. What's your opinions on it? What are you seeing? And what's your takeaways on the whole AI thing in storytelling?
Well, we made a pact, myself and Emily, my co-director, we made a pact that we wouldn't use AI. Now, that said, some of the tools I use in post-production have AI elements to them.
Yeah.
So I've got, I mean, and we all use those. I use a bit of software called Crumple Pop, which is one of the best names ever, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what it does, it goes through a piece of audio and listens for plosives and removes them. Now that uses AI. We have on occasion, so here's a use for it, where casting children is notoriously difficult for all sorts of reasons. Sometimes I've wanted a child's voice, and we will pick an actor, get them to talk in a childlike manner, and then use a slight AI voice changer. But at the core of that is a human being acting, and we've used a bit of AI to change their voice slightly. Generating voices through AI is a no-no for me. I wouldn't do that. One of the other things I do is I run workshops and courses for people creating audio drama, so writers and producers. Someone came on to one of my courses once and said, my ambition is to create a completely AI audio drama. So I'm going to get AI to write the script to my description, and then I'm going to use AI to generate all of the voices, and I'm going to get AI to do all the sound effects. And once I'd stopped wincing, I said, well, when you've done it, send me a link. And honestly, I couldn't. I mean, it was just listening to 20 minutes of that. I'm never going to get those 20 minutes of my life back again. It was the worst thing I've ever heard.
Were they pleased with it?
Well, they were pleased enough with it to share it with me. And I didn't want to know anymore. I mean, out of curiosity, maybe I should have said,
why did they do your course, though, if they were going to, like...
That's a really good question. I think they probably... I mean, there's something about knowing your enemy, isn't there? And,
of course.
Finding out more about how audio drama is made. But yeah, it was a weird one. It was I
guess the right prompts to ask, maybe, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly.
God, that's sad.
But using AI as a tool to help production, that to me is exactly what it should be used for. Like in terms of helping your workflow get a bit easier, then that is, in my opinion, what it's best at. But like, there's a huge surgence at the moment, like on YouTube and podcast platforms, of people doing, like, pretty much like you said then, Chris, all AI true crime podcasts. Or I started doing sleep stories, and if you listen to some of the competition, there are some that are just all AI generated. And I think the interesting thing is, it feels like the mindset of a lot of people who are pro AI, I feel like, are blindsided by the excitement of being able to generate some sort of content relatively cheap and relatively quickly, and not putting enough emphasis on, but is it any good though? Because most people go, not really.
They don't care, though, do they? I suppose that's they don't care if it's any good. It's like, will it make me money?
Yeah, and I was reading something on the news earlier today, that a lot of companies now are trying to bring this narrative back of a human first approach. We are human first, we are employees first, etc. And it may, and I've said it in the past as well, I do think that you'll have this bubble where there is a lot of, like, if you go on social media, you see all these people generating movie clips with all AI, and it's like, yes, okay, it can look good, but first of all, you've got all the copyright issues you're about to get hit with. But you're not actually creating anything fresh.
No.
It's like a quick 5-second meme of some kind, or there's no substance to it. And I think what will happen is, whilst there'll be a bubble of time where people get excited about AI and it can do this and do that, from a performative point of view, there will come a point where I think people are like, actually, the level of content is not good. I mean, look at YouTube. YouTube have doubled down now. They've wiped off millions and millions and millions of channels, branded it as AI slop, because they want actual content people resonate with.
Yeah.
And in the same way that I think with whether it's gaming or audio dramas, stuff that requires pure human emotion, this is why I don't worry about it. As long as you have to work on your craft, obviously. You can't just decide as a human person, I'm going to start doing audio dramas. Like, you need to practice acting and consistently try and get better. But as long as you can be better than the best AI, which I don't think is a massively difficult task. For certain levels of voiceover, if you're relatively new to the industry, then you have got some competition. But in terms of the acting side of it, no, I just don't buy into it. And look, listen, 5 years from now, I might be saying this with half a robot body and an AI voice. I don't know. But as it stands right now, I'm not worried about it.
Let's hope not, Michael.
Yeah, that's really good.
Like, someone's just prompting me what to say. Well, like, I just don't think, I think the true art of storytelling will survive. I think it will thrive at some point. I believe that we'll go full circle and people get so fed up with this bland, like, soulless slop, as people call it, that when they do hear something that's more profound, when they do hear something that resonates with them, they go, wow, is that what we're missing out on for all this quick fix garbage? So I was just curious.
Well, I think the danger of it, and just as a, have we come full circle already? Actually, is the bubble about to burst?
Yeah.
One of the I won't talk too much about the financial markets, but I saw a thing the other day that was saying that one of the biggest worries at the moment in the financial markets is that all of the AI firms have been overvalued.
Yeah,
and this AI bubble is about to burst financially. Yeah. Now, we all know that when the money disappears, the product disappears. Yeah. So that could kill it. Yeah. But I think my biggest worry, and I've seen this twice, is that kind of theft by stealth using AI. So you've probably had stories of actors who go for an audition, in inverted commas, at a studio, and they're given a laminated bit of paper and someone says, just read this. And all they're doing is training an AI
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
then going to steal their voice. And one of the actors I work with a lot, she was given this thing in a studio, looked at it and was brave enough to say, sod you and
Yeah.
walk out.
Good
So
on
the
her.
other example is I do a lot of work with writers. A novelist Googled himself and it said he's written 6 novels. And he was like, I've written 5 novels. And he looked it up further, and there's this 6th novel that he didn't write. And he looked into it, and someone has used AI to imitate his writing style and create a novel that then appeared on Amazon. Loads of his fans bought it, and then a couple of weeks later it disappeared.
Oh, that's
And
so messed
someone
up.
somewhere has made a load of money and then buggered off. And that is, I think, what worries me. And I think the fact that the AI bubble may be bursting from a creative perspective is we're probably going to see more of that while people try and get
Grasp.
rich while they can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
that's
we
where
both know people who've had their voices stolen. It's not common, but I know a number of people. And I feel like the scams are rife at the moment with that. And
I just can't get my head around how. Why is it so difficult to put a law in place that says you cannot just go and take someone's voice, stick it into an AI machine and get them to spew out stuff they never actually said, because that creates all sorts of ramifications. It could be porno stuff, it could be racist stuff, it could be God knows what. So the very fact that somebody has the ability to do that and there isn't a law in place that just makes it, I mean, it's just, to me, it's just basic common sense. That isn't my voice.
basic humanity, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like
just...
that. Like you can't. How it just blows my mind. And I've said it again. I'm always going on about the past, but I've said in the past, the only time, and this Sea Dance 2.0 thing that's recently come out from China, which is doing all the Hollywood effects and stuff with like the Tom Cruise and God knows what else in fight scenes. The only time I think the law will change is when the big IPs, their pockets get hit. Because it's like, oh, they don't really pay attention. But now it's like, oh, but now your content's being ripped off. Oh, now you care, which is all right, fine. Because if we all benefit in the long term that the laws are changed, then great. But it shouldn't have to be that the Hollywood movie studios, when they start getting affected, then they take notice and they try and change the law. Because it should just be basic common sense. You cannot go and take someone's voice or likeness, reproduce it, and make money off it. I mean, it's just barbaric. I just cannot get my head
It's up to
around it.
governments, though, isn't it, to make the legislation, and they are moving very, very slowly because it doesn't financially benefit them at the moment.
Well,
I think that's...
or even embracing AI, Jenna. I mean, our own government is actually, really embracing AI, and not necessarily for the creative industries, but it will. I think that governments are giving an easy ride to this theft of intellectual property, this harvesting of books, this harvesting of voices that is going on, because I think they see benefits in other areas, and I totally see that. If you're a doctor and you're trying to make a diagnosis, you put the symptoms in. AI has got every example of what those symptoms meant. And a doctor has only seen it for 5 or 6 times in their entire career. So I get that, but let's use it for things like that, not for creative things.
Yeah. Well, just what you were saying before about the bubble thing. I think OpenAI, they look like to be the first to potentially go. So apparently Sam Altman is not a particularly trusted character with data, with all the sort of the legalities, and there's another word I'm thinking of, it's lost me, but anyway, and then I think they were valued at like 200 billion, so they now have started putting ads into ChatGPT to try and boost their revenue, but they are miles off it. And it was quite telling that the CEO of Nvidia said about 2 weeks ago, someone stopped him and did like one of those street interviews, and he confirmed that they declined to invest 100 billion into ChatGPT, which is massive because they are like a massive organisation that align with AI. So a lot of people feel like the cards are starting to tumble. And I mean, AI is not going away, and like I say, I can't stress enough, I'm not anti-AI at all. Like, I think as a tool to assist us in general ways, fantastic. It makes life easier and more organised, etc. There's a creative element to it which has a massive dark cloud over it, and I think that just needs tightening up so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. But use it to go on to ChatGPT and say, tell me about all the small production companies making audio drama. And that might be a good use for a voice actor to get a list.
Absolutely.
And some of them won't be real because we know what information generated by AI is like. But that might be a good way of building yourself, or starting to build yourself, a little database of the people that you can send your reels to.
Yeah, we mentioned actually before
we
started. You said, well, no, it's a good segue, because you mentioned before about how before we started, when we messaged me about how the industry's changed, like indie developers of all sort of. So are you seeing that there's a lot more opportunity for people to get into audio drama now through indie production companies and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. 15 years ago, the BBC was the only game in town, really.
Yeah.
When it came to audio drama, and it was the Archers, and there was probably one play every day on, in the afternoon on Radio 4. But they were all very formulaic. They were very traditional, I would say. What we have now is this marketplace where you've got Audible with amazing budgets doing fantastic work. You've got lots of smaller companies commissioning audio drama as well. And you've got this podcast, the independent podcast market. And so the opportunities for voice actors, I think, are more than ever. So, I'd say do your research, find out who these companies are, find out what the big independent podcasts are, the big independent audio dramas, and particularly because this is a global world and you can do work from wherever you are, a lot of the time, don't discount all the American dramas. The audio drama world is massive in America. Yeah. So for my drama, The Dex Legacy, 75% of our audience is in America.
Oh, really?
Which is extraordinary, really. That was, we never intended it that way. We never marketed it specifically to America. Maybe they just love a British villain voice or something.
Well, they do. We know that.
Well, yeah, yes. So so look at the market and get to know a few audio dramas as well. I mean, there's some great shows out there, and I always say that if you want to be a writer, you've got to listen to what other people have written. You've got to read other people's work. I think it's the same if you want to be a voice actor. Find out how audio drama works. Find out actors in that world that you really enjoy their work, and try and emulate them.
Well, I had the very same sort of mindset because Steph wants to she wants to do a gaming reel and get into gaming, but she's never been a gamer. I was like, right, so we need to buy a PS5. That's what we need. Let's go and get one.
Nice work, Michael.
Let's go and get one. Let's get practicing. Find your favourite actors. But there is truth to it. Like, Jen, you kind of did the same thing, didn't you? You weren't much of a gamer, but you want to work in games, so you have to play games. Like, you have to.
It makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Same with like I listen to audio dramas on Audible. Like, if we've got a long drive to Paris, if I'm flying back to Manchester, for example, it's a 2-hour drive. I'll just stick on an audio drama with a 5, 6, 7 piece cast, and by the time I get there, it's finished. But it's just really immersive, and I just love it.
I think it's good advice in terms of doing that research, because I feel like I am always on the hunt for more audio dramas as well. And sometimes I'm trying to type things in, being like, and if you've listened to everything one of your favourite people make, and then you're like, well, where's next? And sometimes I think it can be quite hard to find new audio dramas that really appeal to you. So I think it's a good idea to start from that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I think, definitely there's, like you said, the podcast platforms, there's loads of independent ones on there. Audible has been a good source of it. I like finding those little diamond in the rough. You know what I mean? The ones that aren't. When you go on the searches, you usually come across the big budget productions. They come top of list, but just searching through and finding something different.
And I love it when you find like that's already had like 3 series or something, and you can then like go back to the beginning and listen to it all, and you're like, yes, I don't have to wait for a week to pass. I can just binge it.
Yeah,
but,
I had that, Jen, with there's a brilliant show that was made by Audible called Impact Winter.
I started listening to that.
Oh, what a show!
I'm going to write it down. Impact Winter.
It is fantastic, and it's got 3 series.
I've got the first episode done, and I've not. That was about 3 weeks ago. I've not got back to it yet.
It becomes really addictive.
That's good to know.
I was listening to it kind of September, October time, and I think like you, Jen, I do a lot of walking and headphones on, and I was going for walks. I've been for a walk already.
Amazing,
that day.
right?
Like,
You're like,
I'm just going for another walk.
That's 100% what I do. But then I have to be careful that it's not too scary, because I'm out in the sticks and I just sometimes get a bit freaked out that someone behind me like checking that someone
this does go down that route a little bit.
Oh, does it? I have to be so careful with what I listen to.
And post-apocalyptic setting. But
I tried.
But they're so exciting when they're like that, though.
When I take the dog out. That's part. When we decided to get a dog, part of my enthusiasm was the idea of going out. Because I listen to my AirPods. There's always a podcast or something going on. I thought, take the dog out and just listen to your podcast and walk away. But I have tried that. When you listen to, I don't really like jumpy stuff or scary stuff, but sometimes it just inadvertently happens when you're going out for a walk at night, and then there's this scary moment. It's just like, we'll put something a bit more friendly on.
Just got some people chatting about voiceover. What a perfect podcast they could listen to. But I do have to say, like, I think, my goodness, poor voice acting can really ruin a story. Yeah. Like I've listened to some audio dramas that I've been really into, and then an actor hits, and I'm like, oh, it just completely took me out of it. I just had to turn it off. And it's, so practice your craft as well, I guess.
Yeah, I do. But I think it's one of those, like we said before, about you always have to start from somewhere. I know as much as I adore it, I know I've still got loads I can learn and loads I can develop. You always have to have that starting point. But I think, I agree. Sometimes you can listen to things. It can dampen the experience a little bit. But I suppose that's all part of growing, though, isn't it? Like
I know, but it ruins it, Michael. And it's difficult because it's like, A, you've taken me out of the story, and I'm just thinking how bad the acting is, and B, I'm annoyed because you've been casting this, and I want to do more voice acting in audio dramas. So it's just a two-pronged. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two sides to this, really. I mean, one, I would say, and I say this as a director, it's not the fault of the actor, it's the fault of the director.
Okay.
Because either they've cast the wrong person, or they haven't managed to coax the performance out of the actor. So either way, that's on me. Not the one you listened to. I'm not taking the blame for that.
It wasn't in any of yours, I have to say. Yeah.
Thank you. The money's in the post. And there are a lot of audio dramas that are weird as this sound. They are not directed. So particularly, I think if they're done asynchronously, I might say to you, "Oh, she's really upset in this scene," or something like that. But there's no substitute, I think, for hearing what the lines before were, and then you reacting to it, and me then saying, actually, could you go for a bit more emotion on this line or whatever? And you can never, it's very difficult to get that granular if you're recording remotely.
Or self-directing. There's a lot back and forth, isn't there?
Yeah, there are directed remote sessions for audio drama and gaming, but a lot of particularly independent audio drama, someone will literally just be given a little half a side of instructions and said, right, go do your lines, send them in. Yeah, and it is difficult then for the actor to give what is required. So it can take you out of the world, and I think the other thing is bad sound design can take you out of the world as well. So that one of the things I'm trying to do. Do you allow swearing on this show?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
I'm trying all the time to not fuck up the performances of the actors and the writing because of bad sound design. So you know, if they're supposed to be in a cave, make them all sound like they're in the same cave, not like a bit of reverb on someone's voice and loads on someone else's. If they're not in a cave, no reverb on any of the voices, you know. And so good sound design can put you in the world, bad sound design can take you out of it.
Yeah, very true.
Another tip, I guess, is that actors are very much part of sound design as well.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about the physicality of it, but, you know, I heard a story where a director was working on a scene that was supposed to be set on a pirate ship in a storm. And the actors were going, hoist the mainsail and get below decks. And the director was saying, you know, it's on a storm. It's a storm. It's going to be really loud. And they're going, hoist the mainsail. And so in the end, what they did was to have the sound engineer play the sound of a storm through their headphones really loud. So they had to shout above it.
Yeah.
And that's a creative solution that is jointly done by the actors, the sound engineer and the director that gives you the performance you need. So, you know, just think about where you are in any particular
That's a really good tip.
scene.
Yeah. I think as well, I said, I mentioned earlier on, I think also, like, for those people that maybe want to work in gaming and they're not getting much gaming work, because I do know some people that think, oh no, audio drama's not really for me. It definitely is for you, because it's all about acting and storytelling and bringing these characters to life. But I also think that by also working on that craft, your actual voice-over work, whether it's I don't know, there's a lot of commercials now where you play a person and stuff. It elevates all of them, I think. I don't think they don't need to be seen as separate things. It all completes one overall improvement to your performance, and you can take that to these different things. So I've always had a strong affinity for audio dramas. I think they're fantastic, but I think even more now so, where some people are looking to try and get into more performative type of work, gaming seems to be the go-to. And I feel like audio drama is absolutely just as important. You know what I mean? And it can elevate your career in various different ways as well. But similar to what you're saying then about how a bad performance can really bring it down, the opposite is absolutely true. When you listen to some great performances, it's like, bloody hell, this is mint. So good.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, one of the things that we've started doing a bit more actually is the chemistry read. So we will find. So you get your batch of auditions, and you think, oh,
that's so exciting.
These are the two best voices for the two main characters. But sometimes we've put them together, and it's like they're less than the sum of their parts, and so you go to your third and fourth best, and suddenly it absolutely snaps into life. And so we've done quite a few chemistry reads. There's one drama I make called Burnout, and the scenario, very briefly, is this guy has this embedded AI in his head, and she's this voice sort of chatting away to him all the time.
Oh, really?
They've got to have this really, really tight, close relationship. Yeah. And they needed to work well together. And we did a chemistry read, and you know, we put an hour in the diary for it, but literally 30 seconds in, we were like, it's these two.
The magic's there. Oh, that's so cool.
Kept them there for a bit longer because we were enjoying it, but it was just like, you don't need to do any more. You've got it. So awesome. I think that's really important. And from the acting perspective, from the auditioning for something like that, that's the importance of knowing that other part, knowing that other character's role. Mm-hmm. Because you've got to understand them to understand your character's relationship to them. Yeah, absolutely. And how that's going to work.
Yeah, just focusing on your own lines is really just half the job, isn't it? Literally, because...
In all acting, don't do that.
Yeah. And in life as well, Joe.
In life, don't just think about yourself.
Well,
it's been so interesting.
Yeah, that pretty much is going to... I mean, it's just... I could keep deep diving on all the same stuff because I just find the whole topic fascinating. And, you know, but I think we've covered the main and most important things. But yeah, I think
You might get inundated now. Apologies, Chris. We all want to work with you, so.
Well,
yeah,
that would be
it's
great.
just just the whole craft of it. Just to summarise it, just the whole craft of the storytelling is so profound. It really is, and I think it's, like I said before, in this ever-changing landscape, working on the art of storytelling is going to be only beneficial to you, like your voice career in every single different way. But yeah, I love it. Yeah, thanks so much for your time, Chris.
Thank you very
Seriously,
much.
thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Yeah, really
Really
enjoyable.
enjoyed getting. So what's just before you go? So what you working on at the moment? What can people expect from you next?
Right. Well, I'm midway through a completely new drama series at the moment. It's based on a novel from the 19th century called The King in Yellow. Kind of slightly supernatural, slightly weird historical drama. So, yeah, lots of fun on that one. I've got another session in March for that one. I'm doing a bit of sound design for a certain Time Lord.
Okay.
Yeah, a bit more of that to come. And we're hoping to make some more of a drama I may call Wasteland later in the year, and a bit of zombie drama around about autumn time, I'm hoping. So
And just
Quite a few
people-
things then.
Yeah, so people
Few
can
things,
find the ones that you've got at the moment. The is it the Dax Legacy?
The Dex Legacy, yes.
Dex Legacy. Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah.
So yes, the people can find the Dex Legacy, so they can hear the sort of stuff that you do already. So that's already out there. Isn't there another one as well? Is there two that you do?
Yeah, well, Dex Legacy Wasteland is a spin-off of the Dex Legacy.
Okay.
Burnout is the one I was mentioning with the character with the embedded AI in his head.
Yeah.
That's we call that a cyberpunk thriller.
Oh, yeah.
I do a show called Specfic Radio Theatre, which is all different. It's an anthology, so it's a different story every week.
Wow, okay.
Mostly speculative fiction, sci-fi, fantasy, and then I do a podcast like this about called Writing Worlds, which is talking to sci-fi and fantasy writers about their craft and about the way they write the worlds in which their stories are set.
Amazing.
So that one's a lot of fun.
So for those listening, there's a treasure trove of information for you to go and find it. And Alternative Stories is your other Instagram handle that I don't usually speak to you on. So yeah, highly recommend for those of you who want to try and work in audio drama or learn more about the craft. Chris is absolutely the sort of person to be following and listening to his work. So yeah, make sure you go check out those handles. But Chris, once again, thanks so much for your time today, bud. Sincerely appreciate it.
Thank you so much, both of you.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing more of your work.
Oh,
Thanks, everyone.
All right,
We
cheers,
will
folks.
Catch you on the next one.
See you on the next episode. Cheers now. Bye-bye.